Hi guys, I'm Santosh Sharma. So today I will be discussing the second part of the Palo Alto firewall. So I will go a very quick way today. It will not be a very detailed because the video will be very long otherwise. So let's brief what we have done last time. So this is the packet flow I have taken from the official website of the Palo Alto. Let's select me my marker. So as you see that packet is received, and after receiving the packet it hit to the ingress interface. Suppose this is your firewall and the packet is coming from any direction. If it is coming from the outside to access your any server which is placed in the DMZ, okay, so then it will hit here. So here it will be acted as the ingress interface and it will extract the layer 2, layer 3 and layer 4 information. All right, and then it will go further where it will check if that packet is having any error. If it will be having any error, then the packet will be discarded. Otherwise packet will go on for the further inspection. If your packet is IPsec tunneled, then it will go for the decryption. Otherwise, it will skip this option and move further. Suppose our packet is not of IPsec VPN and this is a simple request, and it will go further for the next path, next step, sorry. So in our Palo Alto, there are two steps. One is slow path, one is fast path. So how the packet will decide where it has to go is it depends. Let me scroll down. Okay, I hope now you can see that. So the packet came. Now firewall session lookup will happen. I have explained this in very detail in my last video. So firewall will look up the session, and if session is not found, match not found, it will go to the slow path. If session is found, then it will follow the fast path. Here the packet will go like that. Okay, so we are expecting our packet is the first packet and there is no session in the session table. So it will go to the slow path, and in slow path there are some processes which will happen. First is forwarding lookup, second is NAT policy lookup, and third is firewall security policy lookup. Here the security policy which we might have configured, that will be checked. Okay, if there is a rule allowed, yes, then our session will get created. Otherwise it will be discarded. Okay, so these steps will happen. In forwarding lookup, as its name is saying forwarding, our packet needs to be forwarded, as our packet is received in one interface which is acting as an ingress, and it needs also to be sent to the egress interface. So packet need to forward, packet has to be forwarded. So we need to find the egress interface. Here you can see egress interface, so that is called a forwarding lookup. So that happens here. There are some criteria, on the basis of that it takes the decision. So I have discussed that also in detail. Then it will check the NAT policy. You might have configured the NAT policy in your firewall, so it will check the NAT policy if there is any source NAT or there is any destination NAT. So it will check that. Suppose it is a destination NAT. Okay, so in destination NAT, your destination will change. Earlier it was public IP, which was in public interface, but now your destination became your private IP of different range, and that is of DMZ subnet. So that will be in a different egress interface. So here we have found the egress interface. If it is a DNAT scenario, then here also we need to do the second forwarding lookup. Second forwarding lookup will happen in the NAT policy lookup also. Okay, then finally there is another lookup. You can see there are so many lookups. These are only the lookups, nothing is getting applied here. So another lookup will happen on the basis of the information that we have: source IP, destination IP. Okay, source port and destination port. Okay, so if there is any policy on the basis of that L3 and L4, if there is any rule, yes, then firewall will create the session and it will install the session. Okay, once the session is installed, it will go for the layer 2, layer 4 firewall processing. Okay, so here there are some certain steps which are being followed. One is active state. If the session is in active state, or if the session is not in active state, it will be discarded. Okay, suppose earlier the data was getting transferred from one source to destination, data transfer was happening, but after some time they have finished their data transfer, then your session will be discarded because there is no need to keep the session active. Okay, then the session will go into the init stage. There is one stage called init. In that, it is also called a free pool. Okay, so that it can be given to the another person. This is the same thing. Suppose you are going to um, any place. Suppose there is a coupon system or token system, and the token, when we go to the hospital, there are token system, and those tokens are given to the patients. And suppose there are 30 tokens, then there are 30 patients, then 30 tokens are divided into 30 patients. So one by one they will get handled, and tokens will be freed. So token will go into the free pool. Any new patient will come, then that token will be handed over to that new patient. So on the same way it works. If there is no active session, if patient is handled and that is not active, okay, it has gone, then we will discard the packet, and it will be that session will also be made into the free pool. Okay, if still there is a session, then it will update the session lifetime. Suppose session was going to be discarded, means there is a timer, 1 second is left, and within that time somebody has also refreshed the page, then data transfer happen and it will update the session lifetime. Do NAT if applicable. So here we have, you can see that we have done NAT lookup here. Now we are applying the NAT here. Here the NAT will be applied. So I will delete everything. So here we have done the NAT lookup, and the NAT lookup will get applied in this option. Okay, so three things are happening. Packet will be discarded if it is not in active state. It will update the session lifetime, or it will do the natting if applicable. If you have applied the natting, if packet has to go outside, so there will be SNAT. Okay, from LAN to WAN packet is going, then it will be SNAT. If from WAN to LAN, WAN to DMZ packet is going to access your server, then it is a DNAT. So if you have applied, you have mentioned it, there is a policy, then it will be applicable here. It will be applied directly. The next thing is decrypt. So there is a decryption policy. If you want me to show you that, I'll show you. So there is a one decryption policy. If you have created the decryption policy, then please let me show you. So this is the NAT policy that we were talking. If you have made any NAT policy, it will be checked here. And if you made any decryption policy, decrypt packet, suppose I have created a one decryption policy and the same thing is that we have done. So it will be checked here. Okay, it will be applied and your packet will be opened. Packet will be inspected on the basis of that. Okay, I'll delete that. I need to, what happened to it? Okay, so let's take an example. uh, Facebook works in HTTPS. So S here is a secure. This is nothing. This is the HTTP protocol, and it is secure and it's working in SSL. SSL handshake is happening there. So there is a kind of certificate is being exchanged. Okay, means complete communication is encrypted. So to open that and see what packet is going inside, we need to decrypt the packet. Okay, We can also perform the functionality without decrypting, but this is a deep inspection. We will discuss this in later part. Okay, so if it is applied, it will check. If it is not applied, this will be skipped. Session app identified. So there is another session app is created. Session is created for the application, and suppose this is a new packet, so it will go for the identification of the application. Okay, so there is a app override policy. So what app override policy is that? If there is one application which is in your DMZ, and that application will obviously Palo Alto will not be having the signature for that application, and Palo Alto cannot identify that application. So every time your firewall has to process this functionality, for every packet it will go and will check if there are any signatures, and at last it will not be able to find any signature, and it will say that unknown application. In logs you might be seeing unknown application. Okay, in that case we create the override policy. So we create the override policy. If certain criteria matches, then override for that particular policy. So in your packet flow, this will be checked. If it is applied, yes, then it will not do any pattern based identification. It will directly go for the security policy lookup based on application. Okay, but if we have not created, it will check the pattern based application identification. So every time it need to check if it is your DMZ application. So it's better to make the app override policy. So the next step is that, okay, it has now identified it is a Facebook. Okay, now it will check if in your security policy you have enabled the Facebook or not. If there is a rule, okay, it says that yes, rule matches with action allow. You can also create the rule with the deny option. Okay, so here it will discard the packet if it is a deny. If it is a rule saying allow, it will go further for the content inspection, which will happen here. So in content inspection, your application will be checked on the basis of many things. Let me show you. Let me take. So the last step here, let me scroll down. The last step here is the content inspection, and everything will happen in the content inspection here. And the finally, packet will be forwarded to the egress interface. So what I was going to show you, yeah, content inspection. Okay. So this is security profile, which is called the content inspection. So if we have configured any of these options, then we need to apply this into the policy. Okay, and once we will apply into the policy, if we go to the security policy and take any policy here in actions, so these are the profiles. If you have created any profile, then your this option will be checked. Your content inspection will be checked. Suppose you have not mentioned it, not created any policy, then packet will directly get forwarded, okay, to the egress interface, and packet is forwarded. Now if you want to see, there is I have also created a PPT for that. Let's see that. I have shown this in my first video also. So packet is received, layer 3, layer 4, information is extracted, and this is our slow path and our fast path. And slow path, there are some lookups. This is like we are briefing it what we have discussed: forwarding lookup, our NAT lookup, our firewall security policy lookup. Okay, rule match with action allow, create the session, otherwise discard the session. Okay, let's move on. What is the next? So here packet is received, information is extracted, it went to the fast path, it has checked the session, it came to know session is not matched, and will go to the slow path. In slow path, as we have seen, there are some lookups. So the first lookup is the forwarding lookup. Forwarding lookup will happen, that happens for the finding the egress interface. Suppose all the lookups happen and everything is done, the second step is that packet will go to the fast path, it will do the session lookup, and now it matched the session, and so on. It will go directly, the subsequent all the packets will go to the fast path. it will not go to the slow path. Okay, and packet will be sent to the egress. So again, this diagram I'm showing just to remember it in your mind. Again, the packet will go to the slow path. Then the first step is the forwarding lookup. Forwarding lookup is happening to find the egress interface. So egress interface will be found on the basis of certain criteria. So how it will do that? So there is an interface type. If it is a tap interface, then we know egress is equal to ingress interface. This we will configure. Then you will come to know. And the action here is drop the packet. So it found the forwarding lookup as the ingress is equal to egress and drop the packet. Now the second is a vwire. Okay, in vwire, when the packet will come to the firewall and it will know that our firewall is configured in vwire mode, then it will check that egress interface is the peer interface configured in the vwire. If you want to, okay, just see the action is that egress is equal to peer interface configured in the vwire. From here, it has done the forwarding lookup. It came to know where it needs to send the packet. Let me show you that. When you go to the network virtual wire, in virtual wire we will configure that interface 1/4 is egress interface, and this is the sorry, ingress interface, and this is the egress interface. So the peer interface is mentioned here. We mention ourselves, so no problem here. It will automatically come to know as we have done the configuration. If it is a layer 2, then how it will identify egress interface? It need to search the MAC table. If it is not found, it will do the broadcast to all the interfaces. Just keep one thing in mind, except the interface from where the packet received, that is the ingress interface. The last is the layer 3, but this is very important. Maximum firewalls are configured in the layer 3. So when the packet is received to the firewall and our firewall is configured in layer 3 mode, like all the interfaces are layer 3, egress interface is it will use the route lookup to find the next hop. So there are certain routes. One is default route. If your packet has to go to the outside to access internet, there will be a default route /0, and we will say that go to the WAN interface. Okay, so it will use the route lookup. Discard packet if no match found. Okay, so the next step is NAT policy lookup. Then packet will go for the NAT policy lookup. In NAT policy lookup, there is also two type of NAT. Applicable only in layer 3 and vwire mode. It will not happen in layer 2 mode or your tap mode. Now we are aware of our ingress and egress zone information available, and we need to forward the packet. Firewall evaluates the NAT rules for original packet. Original packet contains original source IP, destination IP, port, destination NAT, packet coming from outside to inside. We have already discussed that. I'm just briefing. Here, second forwarding lookup will happen for the translated addresses to determine the egress interface. That's why it will happen. Why determine the egress interface again? Because before that destination was public IP, and now destination changed to private IP. Public IP was in outside zone and private IP will be in DMZ zone. Source NAT, packet going from your LAN to WAN, inside to outside. Okay, so no forwarding lookup for SNAT as the source, your destination, source is not changing and it is the source NAT, and also your destination is not changing here. Okay, so let's move on. This is an example. Your packet is coming. Suppose there is a one server, and this is my website also, drsInfo.com.net. This is the website, and there is one firewall I have deployed, and this is my DMZ interface, and my server is connected here. This is my WAN interface. If anybody has to come to access my this website, they will hit to my WAN interface, and Then there is a routing information. They will check DNAT will happen and it will go to a DNZ. Okay, so this guy want to access my website drs.net. First, it will go to the public DNS, and public DNS will say, okay, this is the IP address. This is example, guys. Do not think that this is the original IP. So, public DNS will provide it. This is the destination IP, public IP. So, this information will be coming to the system, and now the packet is going with the source IP of this PC and the destination IP of its destination for its destination what it is asking. When it reached to our firewall, the source interface is WAN interface because the packet came from the outside, and destination interface is also the WAN interface because it is hitting to the public IP address. Okay, now DNAT will happen, destination NAT is found. Firewall says that if you want to access to 168.1.1, then route lookup will happen and destination changed, check the egress for the new destination. Now it will check, it will do the forwarding lookup again. Now it came to know that the source interface is the WAN and the destination interface is DMZ. Okay, so here the forwarding lookup happened second time. Now the packet will be forwarded. So